Hey, how long are you going to keep fooling around? Turning at the angry shout, I saw the woman in the wheelchair I had helped was also startled by it. Don't waste my time on such a nobody. A nobody? What is he talking about? Don't waste my time with your unnecessary meddling. That's why you'll always be a dead-end employee. What is he really saying? Prioritizing helping someone in need should come first, right? If I had just left her there, I would regret it forever, but maybe he sees things differently. My name is John, and I'm a drab middle-aged man, still single at the age of 40. My parents have passed away, and I've been living a lonely life for quite some time now. Looking back on my childhood, although we weren't wealthy, my parents were kind, and I spent my days smiling every day. On days off, my dad, Mark, would play soccer with me or take me to the park. My father was tall and slender. Sometimes he would give me piggyback rides. It felt so high and made me so happy. My mother was always kind, preparing delicious snacks when I returned from playing outside. They weren't fancy cakes, but those homemade snacks filled with love satisfied both my heart and stomach. And even when I came home covered in mud with my friends, she would always greet us with a smile. I believed those days would last forever without a doubt. But then, shortly after I started elementary school, my mother passed away. My memories of that time are vague, but I remember crying my heart out. My father could have remarried, but he chose to work tirelessly for my sake, to put me through college. My father, who had always had a weak heart, worked himself to exhaustion to see me off to college, but just after I secured a job following my graduation, he passed away. It was too early a departure, even considering his age. I thought I was finally going to be able to repay him for his kindness. Dad. My father, lying silently on the stark-white hospital bed, seemed so much thinner and more frail than I remembered. Mark always talked about you with a smile, the nurses told me. He did. Yes, he would always tell us and the other patients how proud he was of his son. Indeed, Mark always looked so happy, they said. From the nurses' words, I knew that my father hadn't felt lonely during his time in the hospital. I was busy earning my college degree and job hunting, so I couldn't visit him as often as I would have liked, but whenever I did, he seemed happy, so I didn't think his condition was that serious. So, the sudden news of his death was a shock, but learning that he passed away peacefully brought me some solace. In an attempt to drown out my loneliness after losing my family, I threw myself into my work. There was no time for romance. Or perhaps, I had convinced myself that I didn't need it. Still, I believed my life wasn't bad. Even without a lover or spouse, my co-workers were kind, so I never felt lonely. Sure, I was alone when I got home, but at work, everyone recognized my hard work. Knowing I lived alone, they would occasionally bring me homemade dishes or express concern if I seemed unwell. It was like the warmth of my old home, and I loved being part of it. Living life in this way, I reached my current age. Then, one day, something happened. My boss asked me to join a specific project. A collaboration, you say? Yes, we're planning to collaborate our company's women-focused lunch bags with another company's popular characters to expand our customer base, he explained. That sounds amazing. Yes. The lunch bag my company produces for women feature a cute design and are two-tiered. They've become popular since their release due to their compact size and their microwave compatibility. The set includes a bag, containers, and a cutlery set, making it a hit among new employees and middle/high school students. Its affordable price also makes it extremely popular with high school girls, and we've collaborated on it a few times in the past. Collaborations with popular celebrities and icons have always been successful, drawing fans to make reservations and purchases. I was nominated for this project because such results were expected. Feeling recognized for my past efforts, I was delighted. What do you think? Yes, I'd love to. Please, count me in. I accepted the invitation from my boss with a loud, enthusiastic voice. The leader of this project was a man named Alex. I was to assist Alex in this project. Although Alex held the position of section chief, he was infamously known in other departments for not so good reasons. Initially, when the other members learned that Alex was leading the project, they worried, asking, "Is this going to be okay?" However, Alex had graduated from a prestigious university and had a track record of achieving great sales results. Thus, rumors also circulated that he was a promising individual, favored by the department head, Karen. That's why, at our first meeting, we were all nervous, trying to discern which rumors were true. On the first day of the project, Alex stood before everyone and introduced himself as the leader, saying, "I'm Alex, and I'll be leading this project," before proceeding to explain the project's overview. His confident demeanor and serious attitude made everyone listen attentively, though they seemed unsettled by the discrepancy with the bad rumors. Finally, he said, "I think you all understand, but if you don't know something, say that you don't know. Asking questions isn't shameful. Proceeding without understanding is far more embarrassing." His attitude and words were sincere and serious. Perhaps those bad rumors were just a mistake. It must have been someone who couldn't do their job, speaking out of jealousy. I believed that Alex would lead us well and bring this project to great success. Yes, I believed that, but when I approached Alex with something I didn't understand, he retorted, "What? You don't even know something this simple? Excuse me. Isn't this basic? Aren't you embarrassed?" Ha ha, I was ridiculed and laughed at. Was that warm welcome on the first day just a dream? When I asked my colleagues participating in the same project, it seemed they felt the same way. So, it wasn't a dream. This was reality. And maybe I was mistaken, but it felt like Alex was particularly harsh on me. "Ah, you're John, right?" "Yes, I'm John." "So, you're older than me but still single?" Yes." "That's pretty lame, you know. You're not tall, not handsome, just an old man with no redeeming features, a real loser in life, huh?" To say such things to someone's face, his character seemed as bad as the rumors suggested. He would loudly criticize people, making them the butt of his jokes. Those around me were more flustered by Alex's behavior than I was. "Alex, you'll be working closely with John on this project, so maybe you could try not to." "What? It's all true, isn't it? But if our relationship worsened, it would hinder the project's progress." But it seemed unlikely that Alex would change his attitude. So, I had no choice but to endure it. "It's okay, I'm fine. Let's get back to work." Despite the appeals from his subordinates, Alex continued to do as he pleased. Everyone eventually gave up on him, or rather, wrote him off, focusing on preventing major mistakes in our work. Although Alex had a good reputation in sales performance, under his leadership, there were frequent mistakes. Naturally, this led to complaints from other departments. I often had to go apologize to other departments on my own for these issues. Seeing me apologize repeatedly, Alex would laugh again. "Is making mistakes and apologizing your hobby or what?" Although I believed it was his fault that I'm constantly apologizing, I kept silent and endured it, fearing that things would only get worse if Alex left. Although there were frequent troubles with other departments in the company, we managed to avoid issues with other companies and successfully commercialize a collaborative lunch bag for women. It turned out quite satisfying, both cute and practical in design. And then, it came up that we would have a press conference to announce the new product. This announcement wasn't just about unveiling a new lunch bag, but rather about which company collaborated with which character to create what kind of product, making the collaborating company the star of the conference. I wasn't going to be at the conference, but I was called in for preparation. It seems Alex, our leader, is likely to take the stage. Despite his complaints, he seems to be looking forward to it, judging by how he's getting a new suit. I spent my days praying that he wouldn't do anything unnecessary and just look forward to the event until the day of the conference. And finally, on the day of the conference, Alex and I drove to the venue together. We had to cross a mountain to get there, and even on the way, he kept grumbling, "This is such a hassle," and lazily let me do all the driving. Almost over the mountain and close to the venue, I spotted a woman in a wheelchair and slowed down to a crawl. "What's up?" Ignoring Alex, who sounded annoyed, I focused on the woman who seemed to be having trouble with a step. It was clear she was struggling to get her wheelchair over it. Luckily, there were no other cars around, so I didn't hesitate to pull over to the left and stop the car, then rushed to help the woman. "What are you doing?" Alex snapped. "I'm going to help that woman to a safe place. Please wait a moment," I replied, but Alex just scowled and completely ignored me. It was just like him, so I prioritized helping the woman. "Excuse me, I can help you," I offered. "Really?" She seemed surprised. "Sure thing. I'll move it now." Saying that, I took hold of the handles of the wheelchair, stepped back a bit, and then turned it around. I managed to guide her wheelchair backwards to a place without steps or slopes. Upon a closer look, the woman seemed a bit younger than me. But it was clear from her attire that she held a respectable position. "Are you all right?" I made sure the wheelchair's brakes were on so it wouldn't move before speaking to her. The woman then smiled kindly and said, "Thank you. I really appreciate your help," expressing her gratitude with such politeness that I simply shook my head in response. Helping someone in need is just the right thing to do. That's what my father always taught me. "Excuse me, may I ask for your name?" "Of course, I'm John." Out of habit, I took out a business card and handed it to the woman while telling her the name of my company. The woman briefly widened her eyes in surprise, leading me to wonder, does she know our company? "Hey, how long are you going to mess around?" That's when I heard a yelling voice. "Don't waste your time on such a nobody." "What?" "Stop wasting my time with your unnecessary actions. That's why you'll always be a dead-end employee." Alex was yelling and had somehow moved to the driver's seat and started driving the car without me. "I'm going ahead, slowpoke dawdler." After saying that, Alex drove off in my car, leaving me behind. What's with that attitude? Even the woman was taken aback by Alex's behavior, and I couldn't find the words to apologize. "I'm sorry you had to face that just for helping me." "No, it's okay. I can catch a taxi from here." "Thank you so much." The woman kept thanking me, and I assured her it was fine before we parted ways. Checking the venue's location on my phone's GPS, I realized it was within walking distance, so catching a taxi wasn't necessary, which was a relief. Thinking I could make it in time for the conference if I ran, I chose to do so. As I ran up the slight incline, I reflected on Alex's words and actions. Once this project was over, I probably wouldn't have to deal with him again. But working with Alex, I noticed something. He was very subservient to those above him in rank and could get away with small mistakes by charming them. And he was skilled at blaming others for his significant mistakes or making them clean up his messes. Indeed, I was the one who always ended up apologizing since this project started. It's because I felt that AIDS exist for that reason, and since I'm older it's natural for me to do the job. I sighed deeply, thinking to myself, no matter how hard one tries, it seems impossible to win against people like Alex. The thought made me feel incredibly frustrated and helpless. When I arrived at the venue, out of breath, the press conference had already started, and I noticed employees from the partnering company glancing over at me. An employee, with whom I had spoken several times during our collaboration, approached me with a look of concern and offered me a glass of water, which I gratefully accepted. Alex was glaring at me fiercely, but I couldn't care less at that point. The press conference went smoothly and ended successfully. "John, what happened?" "I was wondering what happened when that guy came in your car." People from our company knew about Alex's reckless actions. When they asked what had happened to me, I told them the truth about why I was late. About how on my way here, I came across a woman in a wheelchair. About how she seemed to be in trouble, so I stopped my car to help her. And how Alex had just watched us and then left us behind. I softened the harsh words Alex had used, but I'm sure the message was clear to everyone. "What? That's terrible. Alex, what kind of person does that?" There were voices condemning Alex, but he just coolly retorted, "Oh, you got any proof of that? He's obviously lying. Besides, isn't the real issue here arriving late for an important press conference? Isn't that normal? Professionals shouldn't be late for important work. It's common sense, common sense." You're fired." "Fired," Alex said. As he laughed out loud, the many people around him were watching. Alex's behavior was intolerable. We all agreed that once the product was successfully sold and the project was over, we would definitely go and complain about him to the higher-ups. But the next day, the situation took a significant turn. The famously beautiful President Smith came into the morning meeting looking pale. "President Smith, what's going on?" Everyone was naturally buzzing with questions as President Smith suddenly entered. President Smith marched in and said, "This is a serious situation," while looking at Alex, who had arrived late, and her expression darkened visibly. Seeing her beautiful face turn devilish, everyone gasped. Even Alex, faced with her genuinely murderous intent, stopped in his tracks. "You're Alex, right?" "Yes, I'm Alex." "Do you realize what you've done?" "You hurled insults at a woman in a wheelchair yesterday, didn't you?" Alex seemed momentarily confused, but as he remembered, he glared at me as if he thought I had snitched on him. "That woman is the daughter of the president of the company we collaborated with on the project. Her name is Emily, and she vividly remembers you insulting her and driving away." "What? The president's daughter? That woman in the wheelchair?" Alex seemed confused but appeared to grasp the gravity of the situation. "Emily was worried about being in the way at the venue, so she went for a walk. She often moves around alone because she feels bad about having others push her wheelchair. The venue was only a short distance from where we were. I parted ways with Emily, assuring her she was fine, but it was close enough that she could have made it to the conference in time. It seemed a bit far for a walk, but it was understandable. When Emily saw your face at the venue, she immediately reported to President Johnson. Then, first thing in the morning, President Johnson called, furious, demanding that we bring in the man named Alex. What are you going to do about this mess?" President Smith's anger showed no signs of abating. "If we're not careful, the collaborative product might be discontinued. And since they're a major company, if this gets out, it could look like our company is a problem, affecting future opportunities." Yikes! Alex let out a shriek at President Smith's words. Indeed, if things went as she said, our side would suffer greatly. Alex's assistant, John, was it?" "Yes." "You're coming with me to apologize to them." "Yes, I will." Alex's face was pale, and his body was trembling. In this state, he wouldn't be able to make a proper apology. I braced myself for possibly being blamed for everything and followed President Smith. The other company had been informed, and we were immediately ushered into the president's office. As we waited in the luxurious president's office feeling out of place, President Johnson entered. President Smith immediately apologized, and Alex and I followed suit. "We are deeply sorry for the great disrespect our employee Alex has shown. I am very sorry." Alex's tremors were so severe he seemed unable to speak. President Johnson and Emily entered the room. You're John from that time, right? I wanted to thank you. I'm glad we could meet," Emily said, approaching with her wheelchair. "So, you're John. I'm grateful you helped Emily." "Thank you." President Johnson, showing a father's gratitude rather than a business partner's, made me shake my head. "No, I just did what any person should." "Father, let's not dwell on Alex's issue anymore. Stopping our work now would inconvenience many people, and I understand that. Besides, with John here, I'm sure this company will be fine." Thanks to Emily's support, it was decided to proceed with the sale of the collaborative product. They also promised to continue the partnership as planned. However, as a father, President Johnson couldn't forgive Alex and ensured President Smith would discipline him harshly. Subsequently, Alex was demoted and had his salary reduced. However, perhaps due to his pride, Alex chose to resign and left the company. After Alex left, I began to hear such rumors. It seems he had taken loans from some unfavorable sources and was asking former colleagues for money, saying, "I need a loan." Everyone, including me, decided to ignore him. It was his own fault. After that incident, Emily and I exchanged contact information and started meeting on our days off. Emily had felt insecure about her mobility issues and had given up on the idea of dating or marriage. After I shared that I no longer had my parents and we both agreed that such matters shouldn't be obstacles, we decided to start dating. I'm still working at the same company. Since that incident, I've gained President Smith's trust and am working hard as a potential candidate for the next department head. Indeed, I have been working tirelessly up until now. I've always strived hard, following my parents' teachings. Now, that effort is being recognized and rewarded. My colleagues believe in me and support me. Moving forward, I'm determined to continue working hard for those who believe in me.